Jamie Dunphy was in the news well before he was elected to Portland City Council. He's been a staffer for U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley and a senior policy director for the late Portland City Commissioner Nick Fish. Come January, Dunphy will return to Portland City Hall as a city councilor in District 1. That's Portland east of 82nd and I-205 to Gresham, including Portland International Airport. It's got the lowest per capita income of any of Portland's 4 districts. Recently, we've gotten to know Dunphy as a spokesperson for MusicPortland, which supports local musicians and music venues. Jamie Dunphy, welcome to Eye on Northwest Politics, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Let's talk about your role with MusicPortland before we talk about your city council candidacy and win. You were against the future Live Nation music venue, which City Council actually approved for Portland's Inner East Side. Now that you're on City Council, come January, have you modified your stance on that development, and is it basically too late to do anything about it?
You know, I don't think it's too late to do anything about it, and there's opportunities for leadership at every step in this role. Portland's music economy is valued at over $3 billion, and we're known as the independent music capital of the world. And I will continue to fight for that independent music status, because it's too big of a thing to lose. It's our definition of our character and who we are as a city. Live Nation continues to be a bad actor. They continue to be being sued by the U.S. Department of Justice and 40 U.S. states for anti-competitive monopoly practices. They are not somebody who is reflective of the kind of values of our city, and I will do everything I can to minimize the damage that they can do in our city.
Will the arts in general be one of your focuses when you get onto the council?
Absolutely. Portland needs to identify what we stand for and have a positive reason for why we care about this place. The arts and music are definitely my priority, but I will tell you that the arts in Portland are over $280 million a year. The music economy is over $3 billion a year. We are an arts and music city, not a music and arts city.
What do you think about the city's compromise between Portland State University and the renovation of the Keller Auditorium? They finally decided that they were going to allow both projects to move forward in some type of coordination.
You know, they gave permission for 2 projects to move forward, but they didn't identify funding. The area around the Keller has been neglected for decades. That's outside of the few times when they actually do have shows, there's not a lot of nightlife going on there, and it's really not a great environment for some of the bigger productions. So I don't know what is going to happen in that space, but obviously something has to happen there. But the proposal at PSU fits into such a broader picture of downtown activation, of creating something that is safe and walkable and fun for people to come out to. So I'm really encouraged by PSU's proposal on what that might look like and how we can support not only the arts in Portland, but also the next generation of the professionals who will be working in those roles. We cannot have a break between when those productions are happening, because we will lose those jobs. And those are really important to our identity as a region.
Affordable housing is at the top of everyone's list of problems to be solved in Portland. Downtown gets a lot of attention. It's a big issue in East County as well. What does Portland need to be doing in that area?
Yeah, East Portland is an opportunity where 40% of all the kids live. It is a working class community, and it's also the only place in Portland where we consistently have empty lots and places where we could rapidly build housing and build multifamily housing and different kinds of housing. The problem is that in Portland, sometimes it can take twice as long to permit an apartment complex as it does in neighboring jurisdictions like Gresham, Milwaukee, or Happy Valley. They aren't getting half the quality of housing. Their systems just work better. So much more that we could do if we were being intentional about siting those apartments, those housing units in East Portland and all throughout the city.
You've worked in City Hall before. What do you think about the challenges with more than double the number of city councilors now in a whole entirely new system, also elected by district?
Yeah, I think that fundamentally, I am cautiously optimistic about this new system. I knew exactly how that old system did not work, and it did not represent people in many ways. And I think this has a lot of the reasons for us to be hopeful. I think that having a city manager or city administrator who is responsible for the outcomes of these things, of the things that are passed, and actually delivering on what the results of those programs and policies look like, that's going to obviously lead to efficiencies and better service delivery for people. And in the case of especially District 1, having people elected from those parts of the community will lead to situations where we can actually fix some of the dumb little things that are constantly plaguing our community. My neighborhoods do not have sidewalks. They do not have streetlights for my daughter to walk on her way home from school. There are huge areas of underdevelopment and just neglect that will not stand as long as now that I'm able to represent my neighbors and my neighborhood.
How do you represent the interests of your particular district and integrate those into the goals of the overall city?
Absolutely. I am going to be laser focused on everything I do on the outcomes in District 1. District 1 has been ignored and forgotten for so many years. People in this city believe that 82nd Avenue is our eastern border, but it's actually our geographic center. Half of all the families are out east of Portland. I mean, it is an imperative that East Portland be centered in all of that. So I come from, I spent years working for Senator Merkley doing constituent services, helping find real solutions to complex problems. I'm going to dedicate as much of my office resources and my limited staffing focused on bringing the government to people. Families on 145th and Division do not go downtown to regress to seek redress from the government or get the potholes filled. We have to go to them, and I'm going to bring that energy and that attention and those resources to those people in East Portland.
In District 1, you'll be working with Candace Avalos, who helped develop the charter reform, and Loretta Smith, who's an experienced politician. She was also a Multnomah County Commissioner.
Yeah.
We had Candace Avalos on this program last week. This is what she had to say about ranked choice voting and the potential working relationships in District 1. Take a listen.
It really gave us incentives to work together and campaign together. And so I think ultimately, we have already been building this relationship that will only improve our relationship now as official electeds.
What do you think about that? And is there a danger, especially based upon your previous answer, that instead of being siloed by bureaus, you'll be siloed by districts now?
I completely agree with what Candace said. That early on, we all recognized as candidates that we are incentivized to not only get along, but to build those relationships early. And so I've been building those relationships with my future city council colleagues for the last 14 months. I'm really excited about the 12 people who actually did make it through this complicated process. I had some concerns about the process, and I think it worked, and we ended up with the best of the best in a lot of ways. I'm excited to build on those relationships and recognize what each of those people's priorities are, what they want to work on, and find those areas of commonality. But I will not be abashed in my dedication to East Portland and everything that I do, because I think that as Candace said in her interview, if East Portland is successful, the rest of the city succeeds as well.
One last thing, we've got about a minute left. Small business has been a real emphasis for the current city council, and I'm sure it will be developing small businesses for the future city council. In your district particularly, with the income there, what is the importance of developing small business in East County?
Yeah, I mean, 9 out of 10 employers in this city are small businesses. They employ 10 or fewer people. When I was when I was in Commissioner of Nick Fish's office, I was his liaison to the small business community. But East Portland doesn't have the kind of walkable small business communities that we think of like inner southeast, like Hawthorne or Division. The small businesses tend to be more service-based, home-based, focused on some of these more professional or technical services. Those businesses are often owned by people who don't speak English or are new to this country in different ways, and are, at the very least, are folks who are struggling day by day. There is so much more that the city of Portland can do, and it's not about necessarily like having street fairs or having those extra little fun opportunities. It's really about identifying what the needs of these folks are and honing down on that and getting rid of things that just get in the way, that makes sense for the Nikes and the Intels to do, but doesn't make sense for the mom and pop shop out in East Portland.
Jamie Dunphy, again, congratulations and thanks for being on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you for having me.